All right, this is learning as a process. And basically what I'm doing here is I'm trying to put together a playlist for students that are just lost. I would say lost. You might be this student. You might be a person, an individual out there that is learning something, and you're going to a college for something, or you're an adult, and you're stuck in some place right now, and you want to find out how to get past that. Where do I go? How do I get past that? And you might be internalizing a lot of stress because of it. You might be finding that you're not learning anything new, or you're afraid of learning anything new. If that sounds familiar, that's almost 80 to 90% of every adult out there. The other adults are in a job already. They are working. They are building up families and driving cars and everything like that. And I'm going to tell you a little secret about the ways that adults learn. Okay? So let's say you're a person that is not working, and you are in life right now. You are learning. And you have to notice what the lessons are. Okay? The hardest, the most worst stress in the world is actually the lesson. And you have to see it as a lesson. It's not a bad thing to be stressed. It's actually really good. Because the more you are stressed, the more you can reflect on stress as a lesson. And then you can find out how you deal with stress. You have to look at it. You have to reflect on it. You have to say, well, you have to say, I am stressed. And then you look at the stress like, how am I going to deal with this? But you're asking yourself a question, how do you deal with this? And you already know that answer. And what happens is, when you ask the question to yourself, how am I going to deal with this? You are telling yourself you don't know the answer. Therefore, when you can't come up with the answer, you physically feel bad. And then you feel mentally bad, and you feel like you want to shut down. The truth of it is, you already know the answer. You have to feel it, you have to know it, you have to just walk around and look at it as a lesson. The stress is a lesson. And you'd be surprised on how rewarding it is to get past just a simple day. So don't think by going to school and learning from an instructor that those are the lessons that you have to learn. You have to learn the lessons of life. And through the lessons of life, you can become 100 times stronger than anybody that went to college. All right. Next. Waiting to learn. As adults, we do this. We get up in the morning and we do almost the same thing every day because we know it's easy. We know how long something takes because of time, and we do that same thing because we know if we do it then, we can go on to the next task and the next task, and it's going to be a safe day. Absolute day that we had yesterday, because yesterday was a good day. I want another day like that. That's how we think. And the truth, and what happens is, if that day is just a little bit off from the other day, we feel bad. And now we start having a bad day. Here's the truth. You need to have a bad day. Through bad days, you become stronger. You reflect on that bad day. And if you do that enough times, you look forward to having a bad day. I know it sounds weird, right? But you look forward to having a bad day because you can reflect on that day and you can learn something from it. And what happens is, if you have a day the same every day, you forget how to learn. And you think to yourself you have to go to a college or a school, back to a college or a school, and even to understand the smallest of things. Like, let's say you wanted to get into gardening. You're like, wow, I need to take some classes on gardening. I really want to garden. The secret is, you just go out and garden. You fail at it. You buy seeds, you throw them in the ground, they don't grow. You find out why. You look at it, you say, why aren't they growing? And you have the process of internet and people around you that you can ask. And you start building these connections to other people and talking to them about it. As you're building this network that you're just talking about gardening, you are strengthening yourself into how you communicate with others. That's the lesson. So you threw yourself into a new hobby that you have no idea whatsoever how to do it. You become 100 times stronger by just doing the hobby, because you're by nature just going to ask questions. Now, if you wait for an instructor to tell you how to garden, you're going to fail, because that's not how we learn. Yet that's how you've been told that we learn. You can't listen to that. You cannot listen to society saying, hey, you need to do this in order to learn. You already have a natural ability to learn within you. You just have to look at it, reflect on it. What sucks is, later on, as you do this over and over again, you throw yourself into weird situations, and then you reflect on it, and then you learn. You'll get to the point where you have to really look for something that stresses you out. Like I have to kind of physically throw myself in under the bus every once in a while mentally, and I'll do that really harsh now in order to come out with a new life lesson. And then suddenly bills don't look so bad. Life doesn't look so bad. Daily activities. Learning to, even be around small children, as a father, every day is a new lesson. Baby cries. How do you do that? What do you do? Why are they? Your children become your hobby, and that's a great thing. So, don't get stuck in the mundane, over and over processes of life. Look for the lessons. For younger students, I will say this. You might feel that every day is a really hard day for you in high school, or getting on the bus, or doing all those things that you hate. You need to hate them. You need to hate them, because later on in life you'll appreciate the lessons. And by me saying that, don't think I'm an average normal adult that was just saying that because you have a hard day. That's you internally saying to yourself, me and you is having a hard day, and this guy doesn't know anything. Okay? It's good that you're having those problems, and the lessons that you're learning in high school isn't math, English, and science. You're learning to socially adapt to society, because socially adapting yourself into the great collective is what life is. And learning to adapt to problems like bullying, like just dealing with the stress, I'm not smart, all that other stuff. You're actually as smart. You're as smart as any adult on the planet. But the inner you is telling you you're not, because you're dealing with all those social problems. But you're learning how to adapt to those social problems. You have to know that. You have to learn that you are learning. You have to reflect every second. Alright, so I wanted to make this video, and I am going back to 3D and all those other things, but really I'm coming across a lot of students that are having problems right now in life. And I'm coming across a lot of adults that are having a problem in life. And that I don't have those problems. And if I do, I know their lessons. And that's a hard lesson to tell a student, and it's hard lesson to an adult student or high school student. But I find that just by saying it, by talking about it to different individuals, I find that they snap out of things. So this is why I release this video and these video series and a playlist that you can go to. All right, so I hope you enjoy and have a good one. All right, so I listened to the audio and I wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything. And one of the things that kind of popped into my head as I listened is I never told you that I said a few times, why would you have to go to college to learn? And for those individuals, I don't want anybody dropping out of school, because I want to show you or tell you, what that really is that you're going to. You know what I mean? And it's not a bad thing at all. At all. I am all about education. But again, I look at education as something that you're doing to get somewhere else to learn more. That's how I view education in a college situation. You might be going to college for chemical engineering. Okay? And you're learning how to deal with chemicals and the composition thereof and the breakdowns and all this good stuff, and it's a real hard thing. The formulas, and then you're taking away those formulas, but you won't really know those formulas until you actually use those formulas in a daily problem. The reason you're going to college is to get to those new problems. Okay? Think of it that way. You're going to college to get to new problems. So the problems that you're dealing with in college are not necessarily the lessons, but dealing with how to balance your life in college is the lesson. You see what I'm saying? Every day, you'll go to a class, you'll sit down in that class, and you'll learn something new, and you'll feel a lot of internal stress because you don't know it, but you are meant not to know it for a reason of learning. And you have to know that. Don't get stressed over the fact that you don't know something in a college course. Only when you take the information given to you into a context problem in your own daily life will you learn that thing. But here's the rub. You don't have time. You're in a college course. You go home, you're dealing with life issues and learning, and so the things that you learn in college aren't necessarily what you're being taught in college. You just put yourself into a really hard situation, and when you walk away from it, you are so strong. So when you're in college, think of it as the piece of paper that gets you to the next level of problems. If you want to be a rocket scientist, go to school to be a rocket scientist. I don't care if you're a person that thinks, that you can't accomplish anything. You jump into that. Do the hardest thing first. And then all others become easy. That's why you go to college, and that's why you would do that, is because you get to pay a lot of money to be very stressed. And that's okay. So, I wanted to put that out there for people that are in college or thinking about going to college. It's a good place to be. It's like all the stress of high school, now, as when you got done with high school, that you really feel like you want to go back to high school a little bit after a year of not going. College is the exact same thing. You feel like you want to go back to college, even though you didn't feel like you physically learned anything, because it was what? It was the social engagement with others. It was dealing with life. It was all those memories, those lessons. But when you are in the actual field of what you're studying for, that's when you really learn all that stuff. Because you are physically, tangibly touching it every day. You turn it into your hobby, you just by nature. So, I wanted to add that in there. Enjoy.